So today I'm going to walk you through this Enviroscape model. It mimics a watershed like the Pine River watershed that you live in. So a watershed is an area of land that drains water into a specific water body. So that's going to be this water body down here. And then we're going to talk about the different types of pollution that we can find on this landscape. So the point source pollution is defined as any single identifiable source of pollution from which pollutants are discharged. So that can include pollutants from our factory, our wastewater treatment plant, or our construction site in the back. And then non-point source pollution is pollution that does not come from a specific source. And today we're going to be using some different materials to represent crop residue, leaves or grass clippings, fertilizers, pesticides, salt, soil. So before we add pollutants to our watershed, let's just look and see what kind of landscape we have. So we have our factory that's right next to a wetland. And then we're gonna have a residential house with a septic tank that's right next to a construction site. We're gonna have an apartment building and a wastewater treatment plant and maybe a marina. And then in the back we have a gas station and maybe another building, and then some roads with cars, and then maybe a resort, a golf course, and then finally an agricultural field that maybe has farming and animals. So we're gonna put some different types of pollution on our landscape. So the first one we're going to put out is our crop residue, leaves, and grass clippings. So this is gonna be illustrated by some oatmeal. So we're gonna put this probably on our agricultural site, and then they're probably gonna have some grass clippings on our golf course, as well as the resort, and then probably in the neighborhoods as well, they're gonna have some grass clippings. So we'll put those. And then our next type of pollution we're gonna put on our landscape is salt. So we use salt in the winter months to help keep our roads safe from the snow and ice. So we're gonna just distribute that throughout our different roadways that we have on our model, and our driveways as well. And then next we're going to put some soil. So our soil is going to be found on our agricultural site and our construction site for sure as they're building, and then maybe in our neighborhoods if people are landscaping, maybe around our resort as well. And then the next thing we're going to put out is some fertilizer. We use to make our yards look green, so the golf course is going to use some, maybe the resort, and then definitely our agricultural farm, and then probably in our neighborhoods as well. And then finally, our last pollutant that we're going to put on our landscape is going to be some pesticides. So this helps keep pests away and off our land. So they're going to do that at the golf course and probably at the farm as well, and then in our neighborhoods. So let's take a quick look at our model before we have a rain event. So as we can see, we have different types of pollution all spread out through our watershed. So we're going to want to think to ourselves, where are all those pollutants going to go? Are they going to stay where they're at? Are they going to travel from high elevations to low elevations? Are they going to stay on the land, or are they going to go in the water? So now we're going to have a rain event. So I'm going to use a spray bottle to help illustrate a rain event. And we have lots of those during the summer in Minnesota. So we're just going to want to look and pay attention to where is the pollution going on the landscape. We also have our storm drains here, and those are gonna take the pollution off the roadways and into a water body untreated. So they're not gonna go through that wastewater treatment plant that we have on our model. Okay. So now that we've had our rain event, let's kind of take a step back and look what happened. So as we can see, the pollutants have traveled on the landscape kind of downhill. So let's see where the water is sitting. It looks like we have wetlands in a couple different spots. So we have a wetland here and a wetland here, and those we can see, they definitely have the crop, leaf, and grass clippings and some of the salt that we placed on our model, and our red and green Kool-Aid that represents those fertilizers and pesticides. And then we can kind of see down here how all this water is kind of dirty and gross. So this is where we want to recreate and where aquatic life lives. So we want to make sure that we're keeping this clean. So let's pull the plug on this and get some of our polluted stormwater out of the system and take a look at it. So here is our kind of end product of all of our pollution that was on our landscape. So as we can see, it's extremely dirty. We can see the salt and the soil and the pesticides and the fertilizer and then the crop residue. So what are some ways that we can have an impact on our landscape and reduce this pollution that makes it into our lakes and rivers? One thing we can do is pick up litter, use less salt, be mindful of fertilizer and pesticide use, and pick up those leaves and grass clippings. And then another thing you can do is install rain gardens on the landscape, or vegetative swales or permeable pavers. These are called best management practices, and their intent is to slow that flow of water before it reaches your lake or stream to filter out those pollutants that we have in our watershed. So thank you guys for watching my video, and please feel free to reach out to me with any questions.